Donald Trump lawyer Evan Corcoran's habit of dictating his notes into his phone has aides to the former president furious and unnerved, now that the Department of Justice has the phone and has transcribed his musings, reports the New York Times. On Saturday, the Times reported that while Corcoran was working with the former president, while searching for sensitive documents held at Mar-a-Lago, he used his phone to detail the conversations and the advice he was giving the president, and what he said could be central to an indictment of the former president. As the report notes, in March, federal judge Beryl A. Howell pierced the privilege that would have normally protected Mr. Corcoran's musings about his interactions with Mr. Trump. Those protections were set aside under what is known as the crime-fraud exception, a provision that allows prosecutors to work around attorney-client privilege if they have reason to believe that legal advice or legal services were used in furthering a crime. As part of the judge's order, Corcoran turned over his phone, which contained a voice memo Mr. Corcoran made last year, during a long car drive for a family event the morning after he met with Trump over the disputed documents that are at the center of one of Special Counsel Jack Smith's investigations. What Corcoran said has Trump insiders fearing the worst. According to the Times, Mr. Corcoran's notes, which have not been previously described in such detail, will likely play a central role as Mr. Smith and his team move toward concluding their investigation and turn to the question of whether to bring charges against Mr. Trump. They could also show up as evidence in a courtroom if a criminal case is ultimately filed and goes to trial, with the report adding, the level of detail in the recording is said to have angered and unnerved close aides to Mr. Trump who are worried they contain not only direct quotes from sensitive conversations. The report adds, according to a description of the recorded notes, Mr. Trump asked Mr. Corcoran if he had to comply with the subpoena. Mr. Corcoran told him that he did. That exchange could be useful to prosecutors as they collect evidence on whether Mr. Trump sought to obstruct the subpoena process and interfere with the government's broader efforts to retrieve all of the sensitive records that he took with him from the White House.